Zero Hour is one of the most authentic tactical shooter games out there. With the Operation Blackdown update, tons of improvements and new ways of playing have been added to the game. This guide is for you to know everything about the game and get ready to fight. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Zero Hour video. Today I have another Ultimate Beginner's Guide and Operation Blackdown version, since quite a few things have changed with the R.O.D.E update and new features have been added to the game. It's a huge update, so we all expect tons of new operators to join the game, and this guide is going to help discover most of the important stuff you need to know to survive on the field. So without further ado, let's get started. There are quite a few shortcuts and controls you should know before getting into Zero Hour. Most of them can be changed, but it's good to try them by default at the training ground before jumping in a PvP or a co-op game. To change how fast your character is moving, scroll up to increase your speed and scroll down to decrease your speed. Your current speed is indicated by the slider in the lower left corner of the screen. Pay attention to the 4 dots above your health bar because they indicate how loud your character is when moving. Press C to crouch and press left control to lay down. When laying down, your feet can be either behind or in front of you depending on how much space there is around you. For instance, if you do not have a lot of space to lay down on your stomach, your character will automatically switch to have your feet in front of you and vice versa. Press middle mouse to activate your voice chat. Press Z to put a ping wherever you're aiming at. To check how much ammo you have left in total or in your current mag, press and hold H, then release to put the mag back into your weapon. Press R once to do a tactical reload, double tap R to do a speed reload. Press G once to use your currently selected gadget. For grenades you can also hold G and release it once you're ready to throw the grenade. Press 3 or 4 to switch between your two gadgets. Pay attention to the lower right corner of the screen to see which gadget is currently selected. Press 5 to access the tactical map if you are attacking, or the security cameras if you are defending. Press V for melee attacks, kick doors or defuse door traps when the prompt is displayed. Press X to shout for compliance. This is mostly useful in co-op but can still be used in PvP. Press T to activate the laser sight or the flashlight equipped to your weapon. Press Alt once to zoom in or out while ADS. Hold Alt to activate the free look. I would suggest holding another key too, such as Shift and then Alt together, especially when ADS, otherwise it will zoom in and out every time you want to use it. Then finally, the most important, press F to pay respect, or more importantly, interact with doors, hostages, and defuse bombs and so on. Unless you have a shield. Attackers using a shield cannot defuse bombs. When you're attacking, press F once you're close to a teammate to tap their shoulder and let them know you're right behind them. Press the spacebar when the prompt appears for you to climb a wall, vault over something, or to activate the breaker switch. The weapon customization feature allows you to modify your weapons with various attachments that will change their base stats. All weapons can be modified, but not all weapons get the same attachments for balancing reasons. For instance, defender weapons do not get medium range scopes like the ACOG. To modify your weapons, simply click on the weapon tab from the main menu, then select your weapon, select the attachments you want to use, and press save once you're happy with the setup. Whatever setup you save from this screen is going to be the default setup you will get when selecting this weapon during the loadout phase in PvP or co-op mode. You will, however, still have the opportunity to do a quick and temporary modification to your setup during the loadout phase as well. Laser sights enable you to use your weapons with night visions. Without it, you won't be able to have a proper way to aim while using night visions. Laser sights are not really useful on defenders' weapons because they do not have access to night visions, so you might prefer having a flashlight equipped by default on those weapons. If you play co-op, you can still temporarily equip a laser sight on them. You cannot shoot what you cannot see. Before the O.D.E update, everyone could use the flashlight by default since it was not a weapon attachment. However, it is now, which means you must have a flashlight equipped to your weapon if you want to activate it and see something in dark areas, in case you don't have your NVGs. There are two main game modes in Zero Hour, PvP and Co-op. PvP is a 5v5 objective-based game mode that can be played in quick play and potentially ranked in the future, or in custom where you can tweak more settings like the map, the objective type, the round duration, and so on. You also need to be in custom mode to use the caster mode. Co-op can actually be played solo, with a pre-made team, or in public. You play on the same maps you have in PvP, but against AI enemies, so you have access to a few different features, you have different objectives, and you have access to all the weapons. We'll get into more details later in this video. The PvP in Zero Hour is pretty similar to what you have in most competitive games. Two teams facing each other, the cops on the attacking team, and the suspects on the defending team. There are three main phases in matches, and each of them are time limited, so you will have to act quickly in some of them. That's when having pre-made tactics and a good team is important. The phases when attacking are as follows. Phase 1, loadout phase. Pick your weapons, maybe make a few modifications to them, and take your gadgets, NVGs, grenades, UDC and C2 charge, and whatnot. Phase 2, tactical map and deployment. That's when and where you can see where the objective is, depending on the game mode, and decide where to deploy by clicking on one of the big circles on the side of the map. Phase 3, action. The phases when defending are as follows. Phase 1, loadout phase. Take your weapons, make modifications, take your gadgets. Phase 2, preparation phase. This is when you appear on the map so you can put your traps, you can get used to the procedural prop placement, and you can move the hostage to safer place if needed. To prevent any spawn peek, the defenders cannot open any main doors nor break the windows during the deployment phase, and this is also true 60 seconds after the action phase has started. Phase 3, action. In bomb mode, the objectives for the attackers are to defuse the bomb or to neutralize the suspects, unless the countdown has already reached the 1 minute and 20 second mark, in which case they will be required to also defuse the bomb to win, even if they have neutralized all suspects. In this mode, attackers know the location of the bomb from the tactical map, which they get in phase 2 or by pressing 5. The bomb is indicated by a ping. The bomb cannot be relocated by the suspects, so once you found it from the tactical map, do a right click and put a marker so that other team members know its location as well. In hostage mode, you can win by either killing all suspects or escort the hostage to the safe zone, which is usually achieved by taking the hostage out of the building. The hostage is also immune to damage to avoid exploits and grief tactics. In hostage mode, attackers won't know the location of the objective right away. There are various ways to finding that out though, and the most efficient way is to have one of your teammates shoot a couple of rounds while you are checking the tactical map. The hostage reacts to shots, and a ping will appear every time your teammate fires. However, remember that defenders can move the hostage to a different location as well, which will also generate a ping on the tactical map. The hostage also moves and tries to escape, so defenders must keep an eye on the hostage. So the attackers get the tactical map in phase 2 to identify where the objective is, but the defenders get the preparation phase. So how do they choose where the bomb or the hostage will be? This is actually done during phase 1, when they choose the loadouts and the gadgets. On the left hand side of the screen, you will see there is a list of locations. The one with the crown is where the objective will be. The game will pick one by default, but you can change it by clicking on the different one. The first player to click on the different location is the one who can change it again. So make sure you talk to each other before changing it, and make sure you are on the right floor. Now, if you win the round, That location will be locked and cannot be reused until you switch sides again. If you lose the round, you can still reuse that location until you win. With the Operation Blackdown update, managing resources has changed, but the concept remains more or less the same. Attackers have a limited stock of weapons and defenders have a limited stock of gadgets. When you die as an attacker, the weapon you had equipped is removed from your pool of weapons until you switch sides. Defenders can also take your weapon from your dead body, which will let them use it in the next round with all the modifications you added to them from the weapon customization menu. So if you had a Scar with a silencer and an ACOG scope and died, and he got picked up by one of the defenders, you just gave a pretty powerful medium-range weapon to them. The security cameras are one of the few features that are often underused by defenders. Anyone can access them by pressing 5 during the match, and you can navigate between the different cameras by pressing Q and E. As long as the cameras haven't been destroyed, you can use them. You can also access the spy cameras that have been placed by other players in your team from the same menu. Security cameras are only used in PvP at the time of recording, but who knows, they may also become more useful in co-op in the future. The breaker switch is something that lets you shut the power of the building down and make everything much darker. So dark that you will ideally be using NVGs or have flashlights equipped on your weapon to see something. The breaker switch can be used by both attackers and defenders. My advice, if you want to use the breaker switch, inform the rest of your team during phase 1 so that they can take the appropriate gear. There are various ways to score points in 0 Hour. Points are required for you to climb the global leaderboard and unlock new emblems, or get BDT currencies to unlock watches and bracelets. The most obvious ways are doing actions that grant you a specific amount of points, such as defusing the bomb for 800 points, extracting the hostage for 1000 points, getting a kill for 100 to 150 points, or getting a kill with a gadget for 50 to 100 points. But the game also incentivizes you to play slowly by giving you extra points if you do not drain your stamina during the round, which is easy to do if you keep rushing all the time. There are 2 requirements to get those extra points. Number 1, you get at least 1 kill in the round without draining your stamina a single time. Or 2, you are using the shield on the attacking side and you haven't drained your stamina a single time. 0 Hour also features bullet penetration. A projectile going through a body will keep going, but will deal less damage every time it goes through another body. A lot of work went into improving the bullet penetration through props as well. Previously, most props would stop pretty much everything. This is no longer the case with the Operation Blackdown update. This is true for both bullets and grenades, which will deal damage through closed doors, so don't stand behind them thinking you are completely safe. The co-op mode of 0 Hour lets you play on most of the maps you have in PvP mode, but against AI suspects, and with different objectives that are not just defuse the bomb or rescue the hostage. On some maps, you will only face maybe 1 suspect, and on some other maps you will face over 30 different suspects. Sometimes you have to neutralize an HVT, rescue several hostages, retrieve an intel, or defuse a bomb before it explodes, and sometimes you have to do all of that. In co-op mode, you can play solo with a pre-made team or create and join a public match. You can also have access to all weapons, even the defender's weapons. Scoring is an important part of the co-op mode since you need to get a certain score to unlock the next co-op mission. Your score is based on how you perform during the mission, and your highest score is the one that will always be kept and used to update your total amount of points. To get a good score, it's best to avoid unauthorized use of force, like shooting a suspect that wasn't about to shoot you, or a suspect that was about to give up. Try to arrest as many suspects as you can as well, collect as many weapons as possible, and so on. There are various ways to force suspects to surrender. They will usually surrender if they are outnumbered, and especially if you come from behind them. You can also shoot their hands to force them to drop their weapons. It's a bit harder, but you can do that too. You can also use a flash grenade, then press X several times while aiming at them. Once done, they will usually go down on their knees and lock their hands behind their head. This is when you can go behind them, zip tie their hands, and you can then question them to reveal the location of other potential suspects on the map. Those will be marked with a ping on the tactical map. You can also refill your ammo in co-op mode. However, you have to collect the right weapons and you have to do it at the right time for that. If you want to refill your ammo for your AR, your pistol, your shotgun or your SMG, you will have to collect a similar weapon to what you have from one of the suspects. However, you can only refill once you are down to 3 mags or less, and you can only have up to 3 mags in total. So if all your mags are empty and you collect a weapon, you will get 3 full mags. But if you are down to 1.5 mag, you will only get 1 full mag, which will bring you to a total of 3 mags, the one you just got and the 1.5 you had before. Last but not least, collecting weapons help you get a very high score, and in general I recommend you to do that as soon as you can. However, I would also suggest leaving a few aside for you to refill your ammo in due time, especially on the big maps. There's a fair amount of gadget in 0 Hour on both the attacking and the defending sides. Defenders obviously have more since they play an important part in their defending tactics. In this section of the guide, I will teach you how to use each of them. The NVGs will always be in the first gadget slot. To make sure you have them selected, press 3 and then press G to activate them. To deactivate them, press G again. Note that you cannot equip or remove the NVGs while you are in ADS. You must get out of ADS to activate and deactivate them. You also need your weapon to be equipped with the laser sight, otherwise you won't be able to properly aim while using the NVGs. The C2 charge will always be in the first slot, so press 3 to select it. Get close to the door, aim at the handle, and press G to place it when the prompt appears. Then step away and let it explode. Note that you can also get killed if you are too close to the C2 charge and you cannot remove it once placed. The UDC will always be in the second slot. Press 4 to select it, get close to the door and aim at the base of the door. Then hold G to install the UDC. Once installed, hold G to display the UDC preview screen and release the key to store it. To remove the UDC, make sure you still have the gadget selected, press 4 once more if in doubt, then get close to the door, aim at the UDC and hold F until it's removed. The C4 charge will always be in the first slot, so press 3 to select it, then G to throw it. To trigger the C4, make sure the gadget is still selected. Press 3 if in doubt, and then press G. To remove the C4, get close enough to it, and then press F when the prompt appears. The door trap will always be in the first slot, so press 3 to select it. Then get close enough to the door, aim at the base of the door, and then hold G to install it. Note that the door trap cannot be removed once installed. To defuse the door trap as an attacker, aim at the thread and get close enough until you see the prompt to defuse it, and then press V. Shooting the thread will trigger the door trap, which will give you negative points in co-op. The door wedge will always be placed in the first slot, so press 3 to select it. Then get close to the door, aim at the base of the door, and then hold G until the door wedge is installed. When attacking, you can remove them by aiming at them and holding F until it's removed. You can also bypass it by breaking the door handle. To do that, you can kick the door a few times or you can use the shotgun. Spy cameras will always be placed in the first slot, so press 3 to select it. Press G to throw the spy camera and press 5 to access the camera feeds. From there, you might have to press Q or E to navigate through the different security cameras until you find the spy camera. To remove the spy camera, simply get close enough and press F. In real life, special units do not always know how things will be in buildings. They have a rough idea of the building layouts based on archives, which are not always up to date, but they rarely get information on how the furniture is placed. And even if they did, suspects might move them around to barricade themselves. That's the kind of stuff they have to be ready for, and that's what the procedural prop placement in 0 Hour is simulating. Each floor gets a different prop placement setup, which changes every time a new round starts. The system works in both PvP and co-op. At the time of recording, you have to adapt to the prop placement and find ways to go around them. But who knows, maybe in the future we will have more ways to remove them. M7 Production also reached out to me and gave me the amazing opportunity of designing a watch and have it added to the game. You can get the SH42000 watch by clicking on the Store tab from the main menu, click on the picture of the SH42000 and use the code SCOTT42. Confirm, click on the Purchase tab and activate the watch. You can preview the watch in-game by pressing J. Share a screenshot of you rocking the SH42000 on Twitter and tag me at R.O.D.E and with the hashtag 0HourScarHotRod. Finally, one last but extremely vital advice: communication. Talk with your team during all the different stages. Even if you are not getting a response, do it to inform your team of what you are doing, since that information might actually change the outcome of the round. Tell them the weapons you want to bring with you. Tell them about the gadgets you want to use, where you are planning to deploy, what strategy you have in mind, and so on, if you want to use the breaker switch or not. Communicating is an important, if not the most important, aspect of any successful tactics. And so this is it for this 0 Hour Beginner's Guide Operation Blackdown version. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a few things. Obviously, practicing is the best way to get better at the game. But I'll have more PvP and co-op gameplay on the channel in the future, so plenty of content and opportunities to learn and to get better at the game as well right here. I will also be live streaming 0 Hour and other tactical shooter games on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Scott_Hotrod. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and to subscribe to support the channel. My name is Scott Hotrod of the R.O.D.E Foundation, and I mostly enjoy and cover authentic tactical shooter games, but you will find me play a few other games once in a while. Remember our third value of the R.O.D.E Foundation: diversity. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.